welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and at the request of Patreon subscriber Jam1 Garner, this is Jeskai Energy. I played a Jeskai Control League a week or two ago on the channel. It was built more around Narset and Days Undoing, and throughout that league, I spoke a lot about how good Wrath of the Skies is, but how it doesn't always line up on curve when you need it to. And the way Jeskai Control loses games is when its cards don't line up well. It's like when you have Wrath of the Skies, but you can only get 3 energy and you're dying to Thought-Knot Seer and Sowing Mycospawn. Those are the kind of games you lose. So this build of the deck cuts one of the Narsets, cuts the Days Undoing. We're not bothering with that package anymore. Without that package, we need fewer Teferis, and then that opens up a bunch of space for Tune the Narrative, draw a card, you get 2 energy, and Galvanic Discharge. 1 red, choose target creature or planeswalker, you get 3 energy, then you may pay any amount of energy and deal that much damage to that permanent. These are engines that have meaningful effect on the game when you cast them, but then also bank energy for later, which means something like turn 1 Tune the Narrative into turn 2 Wrath of the Skies can destroy all 2-drops with only 2 mana instead of 4. Galvanic Discharge is kind of both ends of the spectrum. If you need to kill an Orcish Bowmaster, you get 2 energy in the bank. If later you need to kill a Jace the Mind Sculptor on 12 loyalty, for example, or maybe a Grizzlebrand or an Atraxa, just something huge. Energy you've banked off of earlier energy spells can be used for that. This is a kind of modal lightning bolt. Another cool thing about Galvanic Discharge is that you don't pay the energy until this spell resolves, which means if you target a Psychic Frog with this, your opponent has to decide how many cards they're going to discard to try to save the frog before you decide how much energy you're going to pump into dealing damage to it. Which means if you just cast this on a Psychic Frog and your opponent discards 2 cards, making it a 3/4, you can then just deal 0 and put that 3 energy in the bank for a Wrath of the Skies or another Galvanic Discharge in the future. That's a cool interaction that is extremely meaningful in the current format we're playing. I would still, of course, rather have the Psychic Frog dead, but it's better than Lightning Bolt, where if they just discard 2 cards, you get nothing. As far as win conditions in the deck, one of the big critiques of Jeskai Control right now is the decks can barely win. We usually see 1 or 2 copies of 4th Aerolingus, and then one other thing. Sometimes it's Jace, sometimes it's the Days Undoing, which does not actually win, it just makes it really hard for your opponent to win. But if they know your deck only has 2 win conditions in it, they might play it out from an empty hand. This build has 2 4th Aerolingus and 1 Comet Stellar Pup. Comet is a card that some people like and some people hate, and that's fine. They're both right. This little buddy can bust and completely flip a board where you are behind. It can lock up a board you are ahead. It can also arrive and do nothing useful at all, and then you lose. Generally, I wouldn't build my control decks with a 4-mana card that I don't know what it does when I cast it. But this isn't my deck, it's Jam1 Garner's, and Comet is here. Hopefully we do some cool stuff with him. That's the deck. This is just classic Blue-White X control, removal, counter spells. Eventually you win somehow. Let's do it. I'm on the play in round 1. This is the original Island Ponder Keep archetype. This blue-white, basic land-heavy control deck. I am not fueling my Wrath of the Skies with Tune. Wrath of the Skies costs white, so leading on basic means I'm not playing it on turn 2. But hopefully I don't need to. If I need to Wrath of the Skies turn 2 on the play to be alive, this game was scuffed to begin with. Well, a Lotus Petal deck is the one who might do that to me. I picked up Tune the Narrative first in case they have discard, like in case they want to fight over a card. That's the one they have to take. Rather than the Brainstorm on top of my deck, I could shuffle before I draw the land that's under the Brainstorm. It looks like we're just getting Oops All Spells, and this didn't matter. 2 Spirit Guides in exile. The Dark Ritual, they got 5 mana over there. Okay, yeah, this resolves. Let's just look at the deck real quick, see if there's anything weird. And with 3 cards left in their hand, they might even have a pact, and this wasn't even necessarily a force check. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 packs in the graveyard. They didn't have a pact. We've got Jack-o'-lantern. Sack this, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard, draw a card. Exile this from your graveyard, add a mana of any color. Well, that's a cool piece of technology. Memory's Journey can loop again. We have Bridge from Below, which means Cabal Therapy is on. Dread Return, where are you? There you are, and Thassa's Oracle. Okay, yep. Pretty normal stuff. Just wanted to check that list. Okay, well, sometimes you lose a force check. I am going to bring in 1 million sideboard cards, roughly. Swords of Plowshares out. Galvanic Discharge out. Spot removal, not what I'm looking for here. Prismatic Ending. I mean, Wrath of the Sky is also bad. These are the cards I would like to take out for the record, and these are the cards I could reasonably bring in. Could even argue that these, you can't cut all of them because you have to win somehow, but shaving some amount of that would even be reasonable. Okay, Prismatic Ending can hit things like Chrome Mox that are left in play, same with Wrath of the Skies. I think spot creature removal is just about the worst as it can get. Maybe Pyroblast to fight over Pact of Negations and Memory Journeys is better than having these Wraths in. I don't play Solitude or anything that would care about having a white card. I'm not cutting any blue cards. I'm actually going up 3 blue cards for the 5 forces I play. I could bring in Supreme Verdict just as a blue card. Most of the deck is blue already. Supreme Verdict is not actually a card that I want, though I have seen Oops All Spells win games where you rest in peace them and then they just like cast Balustrade Spy, target you, and go to beatdowns. And if you can't actually stabilize versus the beats, you will lose. I think Supreme Verdict being a blue card is good enough to be brought in for the old 13 card sideboard. Let's do it. Keep. This hand is very nice for the matchup. I have force blue card, a Stifle, which beats Thassa's Oracle, or beats the Balustrade Spy in the first place. It does not beat Undercity Informer. And second land drop, we work our way up to Narset and we rebuild. And I'm not going to ask for a better hand than this. If they got me, boy, do they deserve it. And it's on a mull of 5. Agadeem, the Undercrypt, Lotus Petal, and they're passing. I'm going to cycle Lorien for Tundra. I don't need to play on basics here. Oh, I could get Meticulous Archive. That's even better. Yeah, I'm not casting a 2-drop here, and getting this selection, getting up to 3, is super nice. Show me that land. Sick. All right, we're in business. Working my way up to Narset. My pitch order is pitch Tune the Narrative, pitch a Narset, and then Narset Consign in Memory being the last cards in my hand that are actually cards. Fellmire enters tap. Okay, they're on that slow beats plan. Tune the Narrative. I am actually going to take the turn off of shoving Narset because that turns off Consign to Memory if I play her, and I have a land where I could just play her with Consign still up next turn. Dark Ritual. Balustrade Spy. I think I do want to force this rather than try to stifle it. If I can get them on the hook for a pact here, then I can stifle the trigger and then they just die to their pact. Okay, pact works. Spy resolves. And now that they're on the hook here for a pact, I'm actually just going to replicate this a bunch of times. I don't need to make them commit to Thassa's Oracle. Do I think they're going to have Flusterstorm, and can I beat it if they do? I could just pay less. I think I'm just going to go for the max here. Counter this ability 3 times. Okay, countered successfully. Consign to Memory just keeps finding awesome uses. What a ridiculous sideboard card that is. If you don't own 4 of those and you play blue in Modern or Legacy or Vintage, you should probably just buy them. I don't think anything's changing here. And I'm not bringing in Blood Moon. I'm not bringing my Swords of Plowshares back. This is the deck I have. Let's go. Now I'm on the draw, so it gets a little harder. Ugh. This hand is very good if I get one singular turn, but I cannot trust that that's going to happen against Oops All Spells, and they kept 7, so forget about it. Mulligan. This hand is worse. Mulligan. Oh, come on now. I have so many cards in right now. Mulligan. Shit.
Can I afford to go to 3? What an insane run bad there. No Surgical or Force. There's 7 total copies of those things in my deck. And I've looked at 28 cards. And Rest in Peace doesn't even interact on turn 1. Even if they did keep a slow hand with the hand of Land of Thoughtseize me, it doesn't matter. Going to 3. Oh my god. I'm going to 2. Still not there. I'm going to 1. Alright, this is not Surgical Extraction. I guess I have to keep a land. This is the worst bad run mulligan I have had on the channel, I think, in life. But they have to play like this is Surgical Extraction. Okay. Well, they had Xantid Swarm go, which would have been awesome for my opening 7 of defense, or Blossoming, whatever that is. What is that card? Deafening Silence. Well, that was just... I'm not going to talk about that. That's the run bads of Magic, but it is the worst run bad I think I've ever had on camera.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 2 with a hand that is pretty awkward. If they're a creature deck, Prismatic Ending is good, and Force of Negation is bad. If they're a spell deck, I don't have a blue card for this Force, and Prismatic Ending's bad. I think this is like a 1-card hand either way. I'm going to mulligan. After literally keeping a 1-card hand last round, I'm going to keep this one at bottom comment. This gives me answers to a threat on the board, answers to a threat on the stack, and the ability to ponder. I'm going to get my basic island and cast Ponder. So this is Painter or Red Prison, probably. If they Pyroblast this, it's going to be Painter. I don't think Red Prison has adopted main deck Pyroblast. Okay, so Force of Will's really bad versus Painter. However, I like Galvanic Discharge and Prismatic Ending, and I can put up a little bit of a wall here. At least flush out that juicy 2-for-1 Pyroblast. But if they do something like Ancient Tomb, Fable, and Mirror Breaker, then they have to pitch Spirit Guide to Pyroblast my Force, and it's a 2-for-2. If Force is going to be any good, it'll probably happen this turn. And if this is Painter, it's an insane matchup for Wrath of the Skies. Okay, Goblin Engineer. This dies cleanly to Prismatic Ending and to Galvanic Discharge, both of which I have. Is there a plateau in this list? There is not. Unfortunate, because that is what I want. I'm going to get a basic Plains and Prismatic End this thing. Having instant speed interaction does matter on turns where they set up something like Painter combo all at once. Prismatic Ending is useful because they do have some non-creature permanents that I would like to interact with. There's the Painter. They can paint everything blue right now, which means they can Red Blast my Galvanic Discharge. Fresh draw. Oof, it's a land. I think I'm just going to pass here. I could start a fight where I discharge, they blast it, I force the blast, and then hopefully Painter dies. Or I could try to rip like crazy and find myself a Wrath of the Skies to solve the problem for real. Because even if I win the fight over this Painter, I'll have no spells in my hand and die to Urza Saga. And Meticulous Archive. Let's get it. Tundra. Please, deck. The Lingus. That card is not good right now. I'm quite confident in that. And now I have to fight over Painter because I lose to Grindstone on their turn. Let's hope they make a construct. If they leave out mana, I'm in trouble. Okay. Fetch. Volcanic Island. Discharge this Painter. I can pitch my island and my 4th Air Lingus to Forces because they're blue, thanks to Painter. There is the Red Blast to the surprise of nobody. Force pitching Prismatic Vista. They tanked about that for a very long time. I wonder what that means. Now I have to beat these construct tokens somehow. And the somehow is Wrath of the Skies, which would also take out Great Furnace. God, that card's good. I hope I find it. I can't force anymore because Painter's gone. Fourth Airling is not naturally a blue card. Okay, there's another construct. Are they getting Grindstone or are they pivoting onto some shenanigans? Right, Vexing Bauble. That is a redraw if they want it. It turns off Force of Will. It dies to Wrath of the Skies. I am allowed to play Fourth Aerlingus and then not attack, so I don't introduce the initiative. I just make 2/1/1 or 2/2/2s. I don't want to do that though. I want to draw Wrath of the Skies. There's 4 of them in the deck. All the cards are built to juice it up. Planes, all right. I'm just going to make 3 horses and not attack. I could have held up Hardcast Force here, but they don't have A or B. And the best thing I could do is draw my Wrath anyway. Just leave these back. Way too easy for them to get the Monarchy. Constructs are coming in. I'm going to triple block one of them. Just start working through these things in the way that I have available to me right now. Just honest trade. I am at 6. Running out of life points here. Fable, yep. That is probably one of the better cards they could have. Can I draw my best card, please? Wrath of the Skies? Galvanic Discharge. No such luck. I can discharge the Construct in combat, block the Goblin. All right, let's see where this gets me. The risk of waiting here is if they play an artifact land that I can't respond to and Construct gets out of reach. Ooh, I got the Soul Cauldron. So this does kill me. I need to kill the Construct now. Or I guess I should kill the Goblin Shaman now because they're both, either one is infinitely large and this one generates mana. I just lose if they have Red Blast, which is why I went for a removal spell rather than a counter spell here. I have to block. The combo here is they exile Phyrexian Devourer, which has an activated ability that's exile the top card of your library, put X+1 counters on this creature where X is this creature's the exiled card's mana value. If I were braver and bolder, I could have just let all this resolve, block the Construct, hope they go for Soul Cauldron on the unblocked creature. That opens up a lot of risk though. Wrath of the Skies for the win! Swords of Plowshares. Okay. Well, I'm still dead. Because they have 2 creatures. Oh, they didn't activate Soul Cauldron in the end step. You're saying there's a chance. Okay, I go to 1. Let's see if they take their free lunch here or if they get greedy. I think activating Soul Cauldron would be crazy here, though it is also lethal. And I can see my hand, they can't. But if they just pass, put me to 1 with 3 lethal attackers, that's really good too. Okay, they're going for it. All right, plow the Goblin Welder. I still go to 2, still dead. Combo's still alive. Still need to draw Wrath of the Skies to be in this game. Or just Lightning Bolt me. That works too. Okay. They're playing that deck. Consign to Memory. Supreme Verdict. I don't always like Rest in Peace versus Painter, but I think against the Soul Cauldron build you do want it. I want my Force of Wills out. Force of Negation out. I want to draw Wrath of the Skies. This matchup and like Death and Taxes, these are matchups that used to be really challenging for blue-white control. Like if they get their engines online, Death and Taxes 6 and Aether Vial, this deck gets like a Welder plus a Urza Saga, and you have to really do a lot of work to grind through it. Wrath of the Skies makes these matchups almost laughers. Like if you draw Wrath, if I had drawn Wrath at any point in that game where I had more than 0 life, I think I'd flip it and we're just ahead immediately. And now that I know that's what this matchup's about, I can keep hands based on the strength of that. I think the rest of this is fine. I don't want to Blood Moon them just for Urza Saga. Surgical Extraction has some text, but I like the rest of my cards. Yeah, I'm just going in. I like this. Keep. I have 2 Wraths, but now I'm being punished by my heavy basic mana base. Basic Mountain. Goblin Welder. I cannot interact with that right now. Draw for turn. Ooh, I can interact with it now. I think there's still no Plateau in this deck. I think I want to Brainstorm while they don't have Red Blast up. Prismatic Ending plays really well here. I don't think I need this Consign for a minute. Consign and it's either Discharge or Ponder that goes away. I'm going to fetch Tundra this turn. I think it's Discharge. That's just, I'm the farthest away from using that. Tundra and this. Rest in Peace is interesting because it's going to get swept up in a Wrath of the Skies of any reasonable size. I have to decide when I want to deploy that. Ancient Tomb, Painter. All right, Painter's on the stack. They did paint it blue. Drew a Discharge, that's good. Ponder, we'll see if they want to get aggro with a Red Blast here. I think that would be a little reckless if they did. It's too early for Lingus. I don't really want to draw 2 lands here, but I do want a red source in play, and I do need double white eventually. I guess I am stuck drawing this Lingus. I could shuffle it away next turn. Okay, I'm passing into the Painter Servant. They've seen red removal now. If they try to do something like Pyroblast my Tundra in the end step, I can zap Painter in response, and then Pyroblast fizzles. They didn't make that move. That used to be a big play pattern in Legacy Painter. You stick the Painter and then you start just blasting off their lands. That isn't really in Fuego anymore. The Painter's going to get in for a damage. Saga's great, because now I have an extra thing to kill with Wrath. And if they counter this, then the Wrath resolves. Kind of hope they do counter this. Okay, they countered it. We got them on the hook. Red Blast gone to protect a card that's going to die anyway. If they have Spirit Guide Second Blast, they can fend this off. We are still a turn away from Grindstone, though. Cool. Their stuff is gone. And I have a backup Wrath. Even if they did hold some stuff back, the second Wrath can sweep up the next wave. If they stick a Blood Moon right now, that would actually be a little annoying. Fable's fine, though. Fable dies to Wrath. Okay. Now I have to decide how greedy I want to be. Frequently, Fable decks get pretty scared when the Fable dies before they get the cards or mana out of it. I'm going to take that shot. Go for the full 3, take the Fable with the Goblin. I'm out of gas here, but I hope that they are almost out too. If their follow-up here is a Welder or an Engineer, the Rest in Peace is going to get them. But I do need a turn to breathe where they don't just keep sticking engines on me. Okay, sweet. That one's fine. Entomb something good. Let's see that Dragon Engine go straight to exile. There it is. And they got 1 card left in hand. Ensnaring Bridge. Okay. I have removal for that in my deck. There's Meticulous Archive. I was going to fetch that, but I guess I'm just going to play it now. Tune the Narrative. I'll keep that on top. That's mostly the same as not keeping it on top. The graveyards are gone. You've got Ensnaring Bridge. You can attack me for 1 with Goblin, Engineer every turn. Nothing bigger than that's going to do anything. They are protected from 4th Aerolingus, as long as the Ensnaring Bridge exists. I'm going to tune myself a little narrative here. Prismatic Ending answers whatever I need it to. I don't need it to answer anything yet. There is only 1 Surveil land in this build. I will play out this land, though, because even if I draw a Brainstorm to get rid of that, I need a fetch land to get rid of the cards I don't want, so this fetch land's kind of important either way. And in case they do Blood Moon, I can get my second white up. They left 2 cards in hand. We have seen Lightning Bolt in their deck, and Pyroblast in terms of cards they could get out of their hand at instant speed. Just thinking about, what if I draw 4th Aerolingus? Can they defend themselves from it? Vexing Bauble. Okay. That card doesn't matter. They're drawing immediately. Risky versus the 4th Aerolingus deck to keep 3 cards in hand. Ooh, okay. Well, good chance they have a Red Blast, but I'm still going to send this thing. Wow, we're in. Okay. Suddenly playing the game. Tune the Narrative. Consigned to memory. Now I'm incentivized to play out another land. And I will pass. Okay, they don't have Red Blast. They might have Lightning Bolt. Engineer still doing damage. At some point, I'm going to have to remove that. I would prefer to bounce it with a Teferi than use a real removal spell on it, but it is doing its job. Ursa Saga is here. That's another potent one. And we're just running Fury out. Okay. That's probably why they built up to all those cards in their hand. Ugh, I'm drawing a lot of lands here. Swords to Plowshares the Fury. That thing will defeat me. I'm going to exile the Engineer. Might be a little early to do that. We'll see. But I don't want to fall into lose to bolt range. Now I have the option to consign this trigger, and then they can't make constructs anymore. Can they keep their construct smaller than their own ensnaring bridge? Am I more worried about something like Painter? I am going to cast this and replicate it once, in case they have a single red blast. Right, so this can't make constructs now. It does get to tutor next turn, and I am out of spells. Alright, we're just casting another Fury. Well, that kills me very quickly if I don't find something to do. And this is what I talked about in the deck tech of this deck doesn't actually win very well. Now we have a Brainstorm. Alright, Swords to Plowshares. I'll take it. I'm just going to pass here. Plow's an instant. See what they tutor for. Hopefully it's nothing that answers Swords to Plowshares. I don't even know what that would be. Grindstone. Oh, it might be worse. Am I dead? This is actually really clever of them. I can't take 6 here, but if they've sandbagged a Painter, they win right now. Goblin Engineer. That's not a Painter. It can exile a useless artifact from their deck if they just want to improve their good draws. Yeah, they pitched Soul Cauldron. That one's not going to do much here. I am now dead to a top deck Painter. I need to find some answers. All right. We continue to tread water. I'm happy to see that. But we're back in the spot we were before I cast Lore and Revealed. And now with the Grindstone on board, I need to hold on to this Plow pretty seriously. And they drew another Urza Saga. My deck is full of cantrips and card selection. I'm 7 cards deeper in my deck than they are, and they are still drawing better than me. Still have better cards than me. Okay, Narset. We're in. Find some cards that are good. Consign to memory. Put that in my hand. Pass the turn. I guess with Narset in play, I should actually play out this island because digging for 4th Aerolingus is now part of the plan. Oh, they're on the slow grind. They got rid of... It said it milled 4 cards. Wrath, Teferi, Prismatic, Vista, Narset. Okay. And they did have a bolt that whole time. And the slow grind is a real win con. I only have 3 ways to deal damage in my deck. And if I both don't inflict enough damage to my opponent in time, and also they mill out my win cons, both of those result in the same terrible fate for me. I'm going to fetch before they mill my basic planes. Come on, 4th Aerolingus. Brainstorm, my goodness. Okay, Supreme Verdict cleans up. Put back Ponder and probably one of the consigns, actually. Fetch. Get... Do I need another red source? I do have a lot of red cards still in my deck. Yeah, I'll get the bonus Valk. Ponder. Prismatic Ending. 2 lands. Shuffle that. Jeez. Alright. Prismatic Vista now in my hand for the next time I draw a Brainstorm, which could be never. Their constructs will be too big to attack, unless they can cantrip somehow. Alright, they're just grinding me. They hit a Lingus. We're in trouble. I have 1 Lingus, 1 Comet left. They could grab a second Grindstone and just go to the face. Mill me out on the slow. There's only 1 Wrath left in the deck. There are 1 Prismatic Ending that I just shuffled away. I don't regret that. Yeah, they are on that get me out of cards plan. Hitting Needle. Okay. Please name Grindstone. They named Teferi Time Raveler. And now that they milled over a Lingus, they are suddenly aware of keeping their hand below 2 cards. Come on, Wrath of Disguise. Okay, they're going for an upkeep Grindstone. This is all random. It doesn't really matter. They milled 2 lands. Thanks for the layup. And I draw a land anyway. Right, I'm just going to splat these creatures out because nothing else is happening here. And pass the turn. Yeah, we're going to die to the slow grind. This is kind of sweet. Galvanic Discharge, Mountain milled. I didn't need those. Again, it's all random. Whether they mill a very important card or a very useless card. Wrath of the Skies remains my best card. There is 1 left. I think if I could clear these Grindstones, I'm just stable and chilling, and it's just a matter of time till I draw my 4th Aerolingus or Comet and win. But I am at 14 cards. Now they're not taking damage when they double grind me. Hey, upkeep. Do you want to do stuff? Here we go. Don't mill my Wrath. They actually hit Wrath, Plow, and got a bonus one there. Shit. I think we lose now. Right, they're firing. Fourth Airling is gone. Comet is in the deck. Come on, Comet. Turn it around. Okay, there's Comet. Don't shuffle. All right, big fella. I need you to do everything. We need to hit 6 multiple times and then make a bunch of haste squirrels. All right, I just made haste squirrels. And yeah, now I lose. Okay, sick. Yeah, I mentioned Wrath of the Skies being insane, but then we had a, what was that, 9-10 turn rollout where their deck with no selection drew better cards every single turn than my deck with like 16 cantrips in it. All right, GG. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. On the draw for round 3, I'm going to keep my hand. It has interaction and sees more cards, which is usually a plan, but this league, I don't know. Okay, there's Tameo. Be sick to find a white source immediately, but I have routes to it with Lorien. Okay, I'm going to ponder. Plow, Narset, Narset. I think I like Narset and Plow. Yeah, I just like both of these cards. I'm going to keep them. I have seen Stifle starting to float around a little bit in the more tempo-centric Tameo decks. We'll see if that's what this is. I will lose on the spot to a Stifle. Let's put that out into the world. Have no plan, no recourse for that shit. I do want to draw this Plow, though. Island Cycling. Tundra. I'm going to pass. And the Brainstorm Blowout is just too good if I go Prismatic Ending. But if they fetch this clue in the end step, the Plow is live. The Undercity Sewers. Alright, I'll at least make them spend their own mana on this shit. I'm going to Plow now. And I can end it as a Planeswalker. I can't Plow it as a Planeswalker. Okay, Force of Will pitching Atraxa. So this is Reanimator. Frog. Good to know. And Tameo does exile and return, which would fizzle Prismatic Ending. There are some cards that just turn, and they're still the same card, but that's not how this card works. Prismatic Ending this. They're currently tapped out. I'm going to Brainstorm now that I know they're a combo deck and try to get something going. This is a lot of tuning the narrative. The Linkus is tricky because they just cracked a clue on their main phase, then didn't play a land, and then also didn't counter my removal spell. They might just have nothing going on, in which case 4th is awesome. And I have the Teferi to test for the 4th. But tune the narrative, if I keep one of those, I can dig for Force. If they go suddenly Psycho Reanimator mode, Daze is a card they play. All right, I will get rid of a 4th. Let's get the hooks in with my Planeswalkers, win eventually. That's the plan anyway. We'll see if it works. All right, another main phase clue crack. And then no play. Where did I put that 4th? Did I put it back first or second? I could just redraw here and have that. That was always an option. And I didn't think about it. All right, I'm just going to redraw. Cool. I'm going to go for Teferi. Wow, that resolved like nothing. That just happened immediately. Okay, I'm going to fetch for another Tundra. And I think I'm actually going to plus Teferi here. Oh no. Is this how it falls apart for me? Oh my god. They just missed their land drop for several turns, and then they're like, Entomb Reanimate. Gotcha. And it's Archon because Atrax is already gone. And I don't have 1 mana up for this shit. What rage-inducing misery this is. Let's find Force of Will. Cool. Always had it. Always had it. I'm fine. This is the universe. It fucking owes me after the last couple rounds, quite frankly, if we're being honest about the state of the world. I am owed a big one. I'm going to Lingus here for the max. Now I have things I can sacrifice if Archon comes in, and Teferi can bounce it. Which means I'm going to plus Teferi again because I get to draw a card off the Monarch. Cool. The world's starting to balance out. The ship is righting itself. Nobody could be so unlucky for so long. This is fine. I'm prepared for this. Archon triggers, sack a human, and discard Prismatic Ending. I think I would rather have Narset in my hand here. Because if I end the Animate Dead, Archon goes back to the graveyard. If I bounce Archon, the hand is not where they want that card. They follow up with Psychic Frog, which is an easy discard outlet. That also takes the Monarch. That is frustrating. Yep, perfect. Never didn't have it. All right, white removal. I play a lot of it. Let's go. Tune the narrative. Bounce Archon. Ponder and Tune can dig pretty far. I could just Narset first. I am going to do that. How do I tap? I think I just leave up blue and red. This turns off Wrath of the Skies, but it turns on Galvanic Iteration. Galvanic Discharge. Okay, deck full of removal. There we go. We're doing fine here. I'm going to attack with my horses and see if they want to discard any cards. The Plow is face up, but if they discard a card, then the Archon is basically free to discard anyway. But let's at least get it out of there. And this has Trample, so we get the same damage through. And Ponder, looking for a Force. And we did it. Okay, not shuffling. I get the Monarch trigger, draws a land. Remember when I said in the deck tech, when your cards line up, you do well, and when your cards don't line up, you do poorly when you're Jeskai? We saw last round, the cards line up poorly. We see this round, the cards lining up pretty well. Bouncing Narset is interesting. They must have a handful of brainstorms and stuff. I'll just replay her. I'm not going to spend Force of Will on that when their deck has Reanimate in it. See what I mean? See what I mean? Do you see what I mean? That was bait. They were baiting me. But I'm not a fish. Okay. They had a second Reanimate. They go to 3. They go back up to 6. I sack Human Knight and discard Flooded Strand. And then I can dig for an answer to Archon. I have Teferi in play. At minimum, I can bounce it. Narset, activate. Wrath, Discharge. Discharge does not quite kill Archon, but it does kill most other things. Teferi bounces Archon. The relingusing. Do I want to suddenly turn on Daze or Force? I guess. Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's get those cards out of there. We're just in there on that. Here at 2, Reanimates off, finally. The Monarch has kept me ahead of these Archon triggers. Okay, I mean, we just ground through an Archon of Cruelty multiple times. That was pretty sweet. We did get pretty lucky a couple times, but like I said, the universe owes me. Because that's how math works. Cards that are reasonable. Pyroblast hits Frog and Tameo. Rest in Peace and Containment Priest turn off the whole nonsense. Supreme Verdict kills everything. And this is a conversation I had recently with my Patreon Discord. Force of Will. This card is good at stopping them from going Entomb Reanimate on the super fast. This card is bad if they juke off the Reanimate. This card is not something that helps me. Like, I don't want to exchange this with a Psychic Frog because I have so many ways to kill Psychic Frog cleanly in the deck. And then do you build in sideboard for just try to turtle up and make sure nothing happens to you? Or do you build to have the best deck most of the time? And I think Force of Will is bad most of the time here. Wrath of the Skies is good. I don't know that it's better than these other things. Like, I have 2 Surgicals coming in, which are fine. They are better than Force in a situation where I would need Force. Containment Priest and Rest in Peace are better than Force in a situation where I would need Force if I get to turn 2. So leaving all these forces in, 2 for 1ing yourself versus a Psychic Frog deck, only solves for their nut draw, where you just lose to Force or Daze anyway. And I think over a career of Magic, you'll win more games by not worrying so much about their nut draw and playing to their normal kind of deck game strategy. I need one more cut here. Is it Galvanic Discharge? I'm bringing in a bunch of Pyroblasts that kill everything Discharge does, but they do it better. Okay, I'm submitting like this, force free, and we'll see if I get punished for it this time. There's the Rest in Peace. I'm going to keep. Opponent also kept 7, and they're pondering. Okay, I am also going to ponder this turn. They did not shuffle their ponder. Cool. Don't even have to fetch. Island Ponder. Prismatic Ending Pyroblast. Meticulous Archive under them. Yeah, let's do it. I will keep these cards and pass the turn. If they go Entomb Reanimate right now, they got me. Otherwise, we get to go into a game where I'm representing Rest in Peace. They Thoughtseize. We'll see what they care about here. And this is what I'm talking about with Force of Will. If they're just taking their time getting set up, protecting themselves with Thoughtseize or sculpting a hand where they have their own counter magic, Force is just a bad, clunky card that doesn't help you get ahead or really even protect you if your opponent doesn't send it like a maniac. Now, what I hope for here is my opponent has a handful of frogs and bowmasters and just stuff I can kill. Got a Wasteland. They care very little about that. And they don't know I have Pyroblast. Cycling Troll of Khazad-dûm. I can get 5 energy here to kill the troll. Barrogoyf. Look at this thing. Okay, I'm going to fetch my basic mountain here. And I'm going to fetch this first, then play Tune the Narrative, which makes Barrogoyf 5/6. Now I can Prismatic Ending or just take a beat here. They know about Prismatic Ending and still cast this card. But I'm going to fire this in. Okay, Daze, good stuff. I still have removal. Thoughtseize versus a control deck, historically very good. To map out your whole plan, know what they're soft to, know what they're strong against. They just milled a bunch of stuff and they get to pick up a Psychic Frog. There's no window to respond to that. When Barrogoyf mills, the thing happens. Okay, white removal. The exact opposite. All right, Death Touch, Lifelink. Not Trample. Destroy target blue permanent. Psychic Frog. How about that one? And now I could do stuff with the... Can I make Barrogoyf smaller with Surgical? We've got land, instant, sorcery, creature, enchantment. There's only one enchantment, and it's in my graveyard. It is a 2-for-1 to try to set this up. If I deal 5 to Barrogoyf, then try to extract my Rest in Peace, it does kill it. I could also just make 1 2/2 to block with. I could also just take 5. Okay, I'm going to fetch for the Volcanic Island, which does activate Wasteland. Galvanic Discharge. Do the full 5. Surgical Extraction targeting Rest in Peace. And if they have a force here, they will probably win the game. Cool. All right, huge blowout. Yeah, maybe I was just supposed to wait a turn on that Prismatic Ending. Barrogoyf is just so big, though. It hits so hard. You don't want to worry about that thing. Force Pits to Traxa, so they are still on Reanimator. Thoughtseize takes my Lingus that I was unlikely to cast. And now I just need to draw one of my white cards before I lose. They hit Orcish Bowmaster and Troll of Khazad-dûm out of this. And this is the real problem with Barrogoyf as a control deck. Not just the size. Like, if that was Tarmogoyf as a 5/6, I would have definitely taken a turn off to play around Daze, but the fact that it also draws cards is so messed up. Old Fire Design coming for your family. Cool. Well, I ripped this thing. I know they're holding Bowmaster, so it's probably too late. But we can grind back from here. I hope. I don't have a lot of time to do it, though. Oh, cool. Bowmaster wasn't even the best card in their hand. Removal spell. I play a lot of them. Shit. Okay, I'll pass. I still have Supreme Verdicts and stuff. I have removal spells. I got Planeswalkers. Discarded Fatal Push to make the clock faster. I am currently dead to face up Information. Wasteland. All right, now I can't even double white. I can't Wrath. We're dead. Okay, I get to be on the play this game. I don't think I want to Blood Moon this deck, though it does lock them out in the late game. So does Rest in Peace, though. Like, Rest in Peace also messes up Barrowgoyf. Wrath of the Sky still in. Supreme Verdict. Yeah, I think this configuration is fine. Going back in again. I'll keep Handful of Removal. I do want to be clear during this game because sometimes people seem to think that I play decks every day as if I think it is the best deck in the format every day, which is an insane thing to believe if you recognize that I release a different deck every day of the week. Obviously, I don't think they're all just the best deck. I think we are playing against the best deck right now with a deck that is medium. That is how I actually feel about what's going on here. Okay, I can test their interaction with Teferi. If they play Bowmaster, that just sucks. They could daze either thing I would want to do this turn. I think I'm just going to play the Teferi. Just use it or lose it on a counterspell. Yeah, Bowmaster. Historically strong against Teferi Time Raveler. I'm going to plus and try to set up a removal plus bounce turn in the future. Or if I can Wrath the Skies at instant speed, that would be really good. They get to attack me for 2. And by me, I mean Teferi. We look the same. People ask me all the time in public, are you Teferi of Dominaria? And I say, I'm actually not originally from Dominaria, but yeah, that is me. And they're like, oh, that's cool. It's fun to meet a Magic celebrity. Okay. I'm passing the turn. I can Prismatic Ending and Galvanic Discharge and bring them down to 1 permanent in play. And leave Teferi at 3. No blocks here. See if they discard a card. Cool. Yeah, they had to act first. I'm going to prismatically end this frog now that they have sunk a card into it. And I'm going to discharge this Bowmaster. Put some energy in the bank for the future. First time that's come up. Teferi goes back to 3. Animating their Bowmaster. Okay, that's more shit that dies to Wrath of the Skies. If I could find a white source before I lose. This Bowmaster does not have power because of Animate Dead and the text on that card. Really interesting to me that they discarded Entomb to Psychic Frog and then played Animate Dead on Orcish Bowmaster. They put a lot of faith in me to actually have interaction for that, which I don't. All right, deck, if you ever cared about me, let's draw a white source. I hate you, deck. We were never friends. They plus Teferi, play this island, and they don't have to discard a frog this time around, but I do still have removal spells. Imagine if I just 4 for one of them here instead of having to continue to tread water. Here comes everything. They don't need to discard, so they're not going to. Just fire this now. Teferi goes to 1. Okay, Teferi goes to 2. Meticulous Archive is good in the future. There's the white source we've been waiting for. I like Brainstorm. I'll keep it. Narset it in there. Dig, dig, dig. Oh, wow. Look at all these cards. The full sweep. What do I want Narset to do? What base is not covered here is the real question. And I think Entomb Reanimate is the base that's not covered. I'm going to take Surgical. Because I can Prismatic Ending the Orc army this turn. Both my Planeswalkers are completely stable. And then I have instant speed Wrath of the Skies for the rest of the game. They keep hammering away at Teferi. I've used 4 removal spells so far. Here's the Entomb. Just checking boxes here. They went for Atraxa. Yeah, the Surgical's face up, and they're just like, yep, all I can do is 1 for 2 myself to clear it. Their hand is 2 Dazes. There is 1 Animate, 3 Reanimates still in the deck. So 5 Reanimation spells, 1 Reanimation target, 3 Barrowgoyfs, 1 more Bowmaster, a bunch of Trolls, some Tamios. Okay. Alright, so as long as I don't mess up and accidentally fire a Brainstorm excitedly into this face-up Bowmaster, we should be okay. Speaking of which, there's Brainstorm. I will put it in my hand, but I'm not going to cast it. Sick. Alright, we got them on the hook for a second permanent. That's all I wanted out of this. Now I can Wrath for 3, leave 2 energy in the pool for later. Those are gone. Brainstorm's unlocked. Tune first. Then Brainstorm, put back these stinky cards, fetch for a basic Plains. Okay, they've had enough. Cool. All right, grind them out. When you draw cards that are helpful and your deck lines up, and I'm not just like memeing or tilting off. I said in the deck tech, when your cards line up, Jeskai feels unbeatable. When your cards don't line up, Jeskai feels like garbage. And last round against Painter, cards lined up extremely well. In the first 4 turns of the game, I felt like I was miles ahead. And then my cards stopped lining up for about 10 consecutive turns and it slowly slipped away. This game, or this match, bunch removal game 1. We ground through an Archon. We were so far ahead. Game 2, they had Thoughtseize, take my useful card, line up a turn where they have a must-answer threat that I had to answer with something that could be dazed, and then we just fell apart. This game, there are 4 spot removal spells and a sweeper in my graveyard and 2 planeswalkers in play. Those are games we win. Sweet. On to the next round.
We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league.
I'm on the draw in round 4 versus James Casau, who is a known Grixis psycho. Enjoys Grixis as a content creator. This other side of the match might be over on his YouTube or Twitch VODs, or wherever you can find that stuff. Perennial trophy leaderboard individual. I don't like having this many forces. I guess I don't actually know what I like yet, because Grixis can be big and control-y. It can also be literally Delver. It can also exist in the median, where there's some stuff like Brazen Borrower and Vendilion Click, or whatever. Flame of Anor, Kolagon's Command. These are all cards that could be over there. I can probably count pretty heavily on Orcish Bowmaster being over there. I'm going to get my Meticulous Archive. The Lingus. I don't want to mill this away, but I also don't want it. Yeah, that's tough when your deck only plays 3 ways to win. Okay, Lingus is gone. Okay, we found a basic. I don't think I want that, because I don't think he's going to attack my mana in game 1, and I don't want basic mountain in play. And if a Bowmaster shows up here, I want to be able to zap it. Cling to Dust, classic James Casau technology. The 4th Air Lingus is gone, just in case it would someday potentially represent a Mystic Sanctuary target, as if I would play that card. Teferi backed by Double Force. I don't want to lose Brainstorm and Narset. I also don't want to be the dope who taps out first in a control mirror, and then the other player gets to resolve something crazy. I'm going to pass for now. I think with Discharge and Force, I can afford to Brainstorm in this end step. Okay, just didn't even blink on the Bowmaster. I'm going to put back these 2 rats and fetch for a Volcanic Island. I'm really worried I didn't find lands here. Come on, deck. Shit. Well, this is bad. I'm going to fetch for... Do I need double white? Alright, he's suddenly fetching in response. Am I about to get Nimble Obstructionist? Or Tashana's Tidebindered? God, that's so embarrassing. This is classic James bullshit. Nobody else is playing this card on the entire Earth. It wouldn't matter at all if I hit a land drop. But instead it does, and we probably lose. The run bads continue. Is this deck just constructed terribly? There's 21 lands in it. That's plenty. There are 11 cantrips. That's plenty. Yeah, that's more than I normally play. Okay. I guess I discard. That's funny. Freudian slip, because I'm probably going to discharge. All right, that's gone. And I can hit Planeswalkers. Maybe I blew it. Can I have a land? Okay, Brainstorm. Can I have a land? Yes. All right. Put back Lingus and Plow. We're back to playing the game. I don't think he's playing 2 of these. I'm going to fetch in his upkeep before he can Kolagon's Command this thing back, though. See? See? Think I don't know your tricks. This is... Get that back, I discard. Do I want double white? That matters for Wrath of the Skies only. There are 4 of those in the deck. Doesn't have any permanents in play. I'm just going to get an island here. This is at least a 2-for-1 already. I could just spend a Force of Will on this. Or I could discard the Swords to Plowshares and keep my Force. I think I have enough Narsets here that I can afford to lose one. I did not get a Mystic Sanctuary. That's good news. What is happening, though? Bowmaster is happening. I'm going to plow this. I'm going to do it anyway. Why let him untap? Teferi is a clean answer to an Orc Army token, as long as the Bowmaster itself isn't there too. Ponder. I'm going to have to cheese him. Do something like resolve a Teferi and blank half his hand or something. Ooh, another force. Alright, well. Teferi is likely to resolve, but at what cost? We're at Hardcast Force mode. Force pitching another Narset. There's only one of those left. They're all in my hand. Teferi's in. Bounce the Orc Army. Hit a land drop. Cool. Grixis has plenty of ways to answer Teferi, like Kolaghan's Command, deal 2 damage to this is really good. Lightning Bolt's a card they could play. Orcish Bowmaster's a card they could play. I would rather resolve Narset and wade through this Bowmaster than lose my last Narset fighting over Teferi, who already drew a card. Okay. I guess I'll play around Spell Pierce. Narset's on the stack. All I can do is ram cards at this point. I'm behind on all metrics. Okay, she's in. Activate. Wrath of the Skies. Can answer this shit later. Sure, I'll take it. I can't very well fire Lorien revealed into this Bowmaster, so I'll take the answer to the Bowmaster. Grixis is historically massively favored versus Blue-White, by the way, for anyone keeping score at home. They have access to Thoughtseize and Pyroblast. Discard is so good in control mirrors. Yep. Good removal. Okay, here's another Wrath. I'm going to send Wrath for the full extra. I don't expect this to be a Daze deck. And that leaves one in the bank for later. It's got 4 cards in hand to my 0. And more mana than me. Cling to Dust is going off here. It's already drawn 2 cards this game. It's about to draw another one. It's Ancestral Recall on the slow. Oh, even better. Waterlogged Teachings. Here we go. Found Snapcaster Mage. It's Jover. Snapcaster could get Kolaghan's Command. Well, I've been blessed with the window to hardcast Force of Will. That's lucky. Wasn't expecting to get to do that. Bowmaster's fine. And it sucks. I'm also losing to that. That explains why the Snapcaster didn't come out main phase. I wonder if he drew Bowmaster right now. Sheesh. Another Cling to Dust. Yep. Okay. That's been good for 3 cards already. Ancestral Recall. The only way I could reasonably win this game is if my opponent messes up, which is unlikely to do. I'm just going to concede. I can't catch up here. Okay. I didn't see any basics over there. Doesn't mean he doesn't have them, just means he didn't fetch them this game. Pyroblast is good. Rest in Peace is an interesting object because we saw Kolaghan's Command, Snapcaster Mage, and Cling to Dust all over there that they care about, and I don't care about my graveyard at all. Okay, I'm into that. I think Force is terrible, but because decks are built with Consigned to Memory these days, the things that would have been like Flusterstorm and Spell Pierce in an old sideboard just aren't that anymore. There might be one big fight. Like, if there's one big fight, it'll probably be over Blood Moon. I think I could shave some Wraths, leave 2 forces in. Consigned to Memory can counter the triggers off of Nimble Obstructionist, both of them. Replicate it. You don't draw a card. Or you do draw a card because like exit activate ability. Disappointing. Alright, never mind. I wasn't going to do it anyway, but I was going to make the joke. Discharge kills Bowmaster really well. Kills Snapcaster too, but not well. Prismatic Ending can kill some stuff like Tameo. I think this is how I'm going to do this. Yikes. I will keep Island Ponder. Now I have to make the decision to fetch basic Island and set up my Blood Moon, or fetch Tundra and throw my opponent off the scent of possible Blood Moon, and also just cast my spells better. I'm going to go with Tundra. Well, this is a lot of non-basics for a person who just boarded into Blood Moons, but they are the lands I was looking for. I'm after it. I'm holding Tune the Narrative, which is the worst blue card in my deck. Thoughtseize, yep. This is where the matchup flips. As if game 1 was close, but Thoughtseize now takes my best card, knows my whole plan. I am floating another Narset on top of the deck, which he can't know about, but that's just by random luck. His hand's got way too much removal in it. Yeah, I'm just going to send it. Pyroblast messed up here, Lightning Bolt messed up here, Bowmaster messed up here. Everything's really good, and everything's really bad for me. If you like control decks, though, and just search for what James is up to, that is a good way to succeed in Legacy. I would trust his lists over most things, honestly. I'll take Lorien Revealed here. It is a blue card or a land. I expect Narset to end up under pressure here. Yep, Lightning Bolt. That was a 2-for-1. I am ahead on resources for the first time in the entire match. And now we are back to even. Stupid Cling to Dust. That card's so good. The reprinting of Deathrite Shaman. There it is. They brought it back. Against medical advice. I'm going to tune a narrative right now. See if I can hit my land drop. We did it. Okay, passing the turn. Bowmaster resolves. He's seen the plow. He's not seen the discharge. I will give him what he expects here. And here comes a bunch of basic lands rolling out. The Blood Moons I boarded in are now going to be dead draws. Might even have his own Blood Moons. They're probably not in, but he might have them. The Lingus. I could just send a Lingus for 2 with Force backup. It sounds really bad, though. I think I'm going to Lingus. Oh, wait, but Lorien Revealed being a land is tough. Yeah, I'm just going to Lingus for 2, actually. And then I'll decide if and how much I'm going to attack with. Seems almost silly to stay, but the Cling to Dust in the graveyard just represents so much card advantage that I feel like I gotta take my puncher's chance here. A Force of Will pitching Brazen Borrower. You know I have a Force of Will. This could all be bait. Could just be a really good exchange where he gets to Pyroblast here and end up. We're even on cards, but you've got Cling to Dust in the graveyard and I don't. I drew a card, attack with Bowmaster, or Orc Army. Main phase Cling to Dust, trying to hit land drops over there. Oh. Well, if there's a way to cheese this, it involves this right here. Come on. Force blue card. Alright. Pitch the Narset. Well, now Comet Cellar Pup has to win the game for me. Itself. No other way to do that. Okay, I'm going to Brainstorm. I can kill a Bowmaster if they zap one in. There it is. Discharge that thing. That's the one card you didn't know about. Okay, discharge, Force of Will discharge. I still have my land drop. I can Prismatic Ending the Orc Army, play Meticulous Archive, and draw whichever card I don't get rid of here. I think I'd rather have Force of Will at the end of the day. Need to fade 1 powerful main phase tap out here. And this is just like the perfect dichotomy because if he does something like jam Jace or Narset here, I'm going to wish I kept that discharge. If he passes the turn, I would really regret drawing discharge and wish I had Force in my hand. Okay, we did it. We got the Force of Will. We have exactly the same number of resources right now. He had 2 cards in hand and 4 lands. I had 1 card in hand and 5 lands. But he is a card ahead of me now. And we'll just see who gets out of this first. I'm not going to tap out of this Force for a Ponder. Waterlogged Teachings. I'm going to just let that resolve quickly, like I don't have an answer. The classic, do you fight over the tutor or the thing they tutor? Orcish Bowmaster does have Flash. Yep, there it is. It's the efficiency of this deck, the options it has. Oh, what a master. Well, Thoughtseize resolves. He may have set up that Thoughtseize over several turns, may have just drawn it. Either way, this is how you play Grixis. Took the Ponder, left me with the Force. That's somehow scarier. Yeah, these Blood Moons are an embarrassment. They gotta be out of the deck ASAP. And I drew 1! Cool. Yep. Just a bad sideboard plan. That's nobody's fault but mine. Like I said, if your cards line up, you do well. If your cards don't line up, you do bad. And if you board in a card that does not line up, then you deserve to miss a draw step. I mean, that's functionally Time Walk, just having Blood Moon in my deck right now. Some massive thing is happening in the end step here. Yep, Cling to Dust. So that's the 3rd card it's drawn. Ancestral Recall again, unlocked. Remember when this game was close? It's not anymore. And all he's got to do is cantrip till he finds a Thoughtseize or a Red Blast, and then just it's over. Or just a second creature. Any of those things are fine. They get the job done. I'm going to play my land and cast Ponder. Leave up the Force. If we fight over Bowmaster and I lose the fight, I'm going to concede. Okay. Here we go. I guess I can't concede. That's a little aggressive, but I will look at the ponder and then probably concede. Cool. All right, so I take 2 immediately, attacks for 3. I get 1 ponder's worth of action here. All this shit is bad. Rest in peace showing up after it cleaned at us. It's already drawn a bunch of cards. Any order shuffle. Drew Narset. I will continue playing the game. Regrettably. His deck's so much better than mine. I think what's happening here, and I'm not trying to, like be crazy or mean to anybody. I think that's what's happening here is this deck is trying to be a mid-range deck way too hard when like the more dedicated Days Undoing decks that just have like 100 planeswalkers in them are so singularly focused on resolving some 3-mana thing that will snowball advantage that one of them is eventually going to get through. And then the huge miracle style decks, the ones that are playing like Brain Surge and Entreat the Angels and stuff, those ones just go so far over the top in value that eventually you can catch up to a situation like this. This deck right now that I'm playing is acting like if you cast enough removal spells, you win, which is just not true. Let's look at it. So we've got 4 Plow, 4 Discharge, 3 Ending, 4 Wrath. That is 15 cards in the deck dedicated to removing permanents from play. And then we have 5 Forces, which are dedicated to removing spells from the stack. I called out the 3 win cons, and that is actually pretty standard for Jeskai construction right now. Like, that number isn't necessarily bad. I think that I touched on common in the deck tech as well. I think that you need to know what your cards are going to do. Like, even just playing 3/4 Aerolingus maybe, or turn this into something else, like another Lorien Revealed, or the 4th Narset, or the 2nd Teferi. Just something that helps really get the gears turning, because we have multiple times now in the league, kill your thing, 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 flood out and die. And while I have run bad, like I literally mulliganed to 1 in round 1, that doesn't account for what's happened in all the fair matches since then, where I just don't think the deck is structurally sound. Maybe Narset's not doing enough work here. Maybe we just don't play enough Narsets. Maybe Tune the Narrative is just so bad as a cantrip that it's not worth the deck space. Though I think juicing up the Wrath is good enough. Maybe 4 Wrath is just too much. And if you don't happen to be queuing into Urza Saga decks or Delver every round, the 4th Wrath is really sloppy. Yeah, this build has gone heavily on quantity of removal over quality of removal, or quality of overall card. And I think that is to its detriment. We got a whole more additional round to play. Just wanted to have that conversation now. Let's go do that. I'm on the play in the final round. I will keep my hand. I can interact with creatures or spells and see more cards. Just going to land go, see what they do on turn 1, could inform how I use my lands. This looks like it could very well be a Wasteland deck, so I'm going to get basic and Tune the Narrative. They kept their card on top. On another force. Uh-oh. Alright, we're in the danger zone. Need a fetch land here. Come on! Oh no! This has been the most cursed league I've ever played. I guess I'll just pass here and die. Not even a Lorien Revealed. We'll brainstorm again next turn, see 2 new cards instead of 3. There are 21 lands in this deck. Just putting that out there. Again. I'm going to try to rally. It's not good content when I'm just having a bad time, though I am having a bad time. I will try to make it fun for this last round. Thoughtseize. Okay, well, I'm going to let this resolve because I have more faith in keeping a high density of forces in my hand than I do in protecting this brainstorm using a force. They took Plow. Okay. Interesting. All right, just send this for a ride. I could wait a turn, see 3 new cards, but I don't think it's getting better for me to wait. Daze. Okay. I don't think using Force on Daze is better than waiting. That sets them back a land, which is like them missing a turn. I don't know. I'm just slurping the copium through my entire head at this point. Okay, draw 4th Aerlingus. The point of only playing 3 win cons in the deck is that you don't muck up your hand with them early, and you can have reasonable things to do up to the point where you're ready to win. But I've certainly had 4th Aerlingus in my first couple of turns, basically every time. And the Thoughtseize, let them sculpt, knowing what they need to do, and I am dead to this Atraxa. Alright. Surgical Extraction, Pyroblast, Rest in Peace, Containment Priest, Supreme Verdict, maybe Blood Moon, but probably not. I'm going to shave a Wrath. I don't like the forces. Galvanic Discharge has not really impressed me. I'm not bringing in Blood Moons. Okay, this is the plan. And we had the whole conversation about nut draws versus leaving in forces versus all this, and I still feel the way that I feel. And here, exactly what my sideboard plan is supposed to do has materialized. I have upgraded a 1-for-2 into a 1-for-1, perhaps even a 2-for-1, because I have to commit the Entomb or the discard or the cycle or whatever it is. Like, my 1-for-2 is now a 2-for-1. And if they don't nut draw me, I just have better cards in my deck now. There's Tamiyo. I am not without removal, though I do have less. I have to get Basic Island here. I can't afford to get Volcanic Island, even though there are some cards that care about that. I want to try to tune the narrative into a removal spell more than I want to try to resolve Rest in Peace through days. Yeah, we're set on lands. And Narset does slow down Tamiyo. Makes the ultimate significantly less threatening. And Rest in Peace makes the -3 less threatening. The cards in my hand do cover Tamiyo. But if opponent just leaves Tamiyo in play, it generates clues, it draws a card on their turn for their draw step, a card on my turn for their clue. That will eventually grind me out if I'm not applying pressure, which my deck does not do. The Undercity Sewers put away an Entomb. I'm going to go Scalding Tarn, Rest in Peace here. Play around days at least. But this will shut off something like 14, 15 cards in their deck with Rest in Peace being in play. Maybe more if they boarded in Barrowglyphs. But those aren't the cards that are in front of me right this moment. What's in front of me right this moment is Tamiyo. Ponder, that's a second draw. A land, if they want to get into Planeswalker mode, they can, but now that's barely even good. I played Scalding Tarn so I could get Archive here. Don't need a Tundra. Sick. Alright, that was actually a really good draw. Narset, backed by Pyroblast. And I can pay for days. Narset's in. I'm going to activate her. Found 2 Ponders. Those are my choices, so I took a Ponder. Now I've got a little bit of a non-bow going on, because this Rest in Peace makes Surgical a blank. Bowmaster resolves. This will clear Narset, but I could Supreme Verdict. Tamiyo did not attack. That's interesting. Why not? What are we worried about? Okay, didn't Wasteland me. I'm going to fetch and cast Supreme Verdict. Would I rather have double blue or double white on the other side of this? Because the Wasteland could take me off Meticulous Archive. You're playing around Wandering Emperor with Tamiyo? Is that what that non-attack was? Because that was obviously intentional. I was thinking about what it means. I think white's going to be more important. Bang. And I could just Pyroblast a Tamiyo if it flips here. Yeah, like, go ahead, flip it. I'm not going to try to, like, Pyroblast the Brainstorm and then win a fight here and land on the other side with max every card doing the max. I'm just not worried about Tamiyo this turn. I'm not worried about Tamiyo for several turns because of Rest in Peace. Cycling Troll of Khazad-dûm directly into the void. And cracking a clue. Okay. There's an Underground Sea in hand. Blood Moon's actually looking pretty good here. That doesn't mean it is good in the matchup, just because you found a spot where it might be fine. Okay, I'm getting Thoughtseize now, which means I have to shoot my shot at Tamiyo. If they even care about that, it's barely doing anything. Probably take Ponder, though I guess if the plan is Psychic Frog, you take Plow. Frog is a unit here. Bowmaster is annoying. Barrowglyphs is 0-1. Sweet. Okay, Ponder. Galvanic Discharge, Prismatic Ending. And now we're back in that spot where how much removal am I supposed to keep? I wish this was a Narset. I wish this was a Teferi. I wish this was a Lorien revealed. Though Removal's not bad here. It's also not what I want. I think I will keep Galvanic Discharge and then use Flooded Strand to shuffle away. This Barrow-goyf's a blank for now. They would need like Brazen Borrower. I will take the other removal spell. Shuffle starting next turn. Getting to work with Brazen Borrower. I'm going to discharge in response. So any fight we fight here will not end up in the graveyard. Cracking a Clue. Ponder. Okay, so they've got a threat on layaway. They've got more cards in hand, and they're selecting two things that I'm not doing. Psychic Frog, very powerful card. And Tameo, also a powerful card. I'm going to fetch Basic Island here, and hope I draw a good card. Okay, not bad. End the Frog. End the Tameo. Redeploy Rest in Peace. Okay, now I have to beat a Brazen Borrower. And those other three about to be 4 cards in their hand. And they know my hand is Surgical Extraction. They can cast Troll of Khazad-dûm at this point. They're almost at casting Archon of Cruelty. Prismatic Ending. I don't have 6 colors in play. I can Wrath of the Skies this thing. I cannot Prismatic Ending it. I can Galvanic Discharge it. It's removal whack-a-mole. All right, second troll. Supreme Verdict off the top. Comet Stellar Pup. Can't wait for this to be Force of Will, and then I lose. Or it just resolves and I also lose. Because basically none of the modes on this answer this. All right, yeah, cool. All right. Defeated again by the best deck in the format. All right, so let's debrief this. I already debriefed this a little bit after round 4. I thought I would enjoy this deck, but I really didn't. And I like this style of deck. I like the individual cards involved in this deck. I think the fail here is this. It's in here. I don't think Galvanic Discharge does enough in its banking of energy to catch up with or overcompensate for Swords to Plowshares, Prismatic Ending, and Wrath of the Skies. We barely ever needed or used the energy in the bank for this. It would have killed a Troll of Khazad-dûm on that last turn, except my opponent had Force of Will, and they were just 5 cards ahead of me when the dust settled, which is not where the tempo combo deck should find itself when the control deck has rolled out so well and kept the board so stable. Something is wrong structurally here in our ability to get card advantage. If I revisited this type of build, if you want a minorly supported energy package, I'd probably play 3 Wrath of the Skies, 2/2 in the narrative, 1 or 0 Galvanic Discharge. And that opens up 5 or 6 slots in the deck. You could get more Lorien Revealeds in there that both solves your mana problems and your card flow problems later. You could get that 4th Narset in there. She is actually pretty good right now. You could get that Teferi in there. You could even make room for a card like Brain Surge, which I got to play with recently for the first time, and it plays a lot better than it reads. It is an extremely powerful divination, extremely powerful divination. And we're not setting up any miracles with this build, but it might still just be right to have some way to get actual card advantage in the deck. And I don't think cutting card advantage engines from your Jeskai control deck for more spot removal is good in the format right now. And we just saw that run out pretty bad. Also, the worst luck I've had in a long time, but you're going to get those swings in Magic. And if you just build your deck to absorb the swings better, then you can mitigate that fact of the game. Less energy, more proven, stable, modal legacy cards. And I think we're headed in the right direction there. I'm glad I did this, even though it was pretty rough to live through, because this looks like it would be good. I was very excited about this in the deck tech, and then after playing 5 rounds of actual legacy versus the real Psychic Frog decks and other strategies, just shook that right out of the system. Gem 1 Garner, sorry this didn't go better for us. I hope it was educational. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.